Hello, it's Lisa again. And how are you? Thanks for joining me. Now we're on lesson 28 of my B1 course for intermediate level learners, for those of you with the IELTS score of between 4 and 5. Okay, a topic today is jobs and things that we know now, that are common now, but that didn't exist 30 years ago. And within that, our grammar is defining relative clauses. Defining relative clauses. What does that mean? Well, basically, it's relative pronouns. So it's words like who, which, that, where, and whose. And we use them to join sentences together to make our speech more interesting, to make our writing more interesting instead of short sentences all the time. So we're going to look at when we use who, which, that, where, and whose, and sentences where you can omit them. So you can join the sentences together, but you don't need to use a relative pronoun. All of this within the context of jobs and things that we use now that didn't exist 30 years ago. How does that sound? Then let's begin. Okay, let's look at the first task together. Now, my children, who are 8 and 6, who I talk about a lot and you see pictures of on this course, they cannot imagine life without smartphones or smart televisions. They just can't. It's, you know, they can't. When I say, when I was little, we had a television and we only had 4 channels, they're like, and we had a telephone that was in one fixed place in the living room and it didn't move. They just can't imagine it. It's like you're talking about dinosaurs. Okay, and this gave me the idea for this lesson. So can you think of any jobs or things that are common today, maybe you use every day, that didn't exist or were uncommon 30 years ago? Just have a think for a moment. Look around your room. Okay, so here are my ideas, yeah? So we've got an app designer, a Zumba instructor, a YouTube video clip, a sat-nav, a podcast, a blogger, Facebook wall, and a Wi-Fi hotspot. What I'd like you to do now is match those words with their definitions below. And this goes on 2 pages. So there are 8 words, 4 definitions here in 1A and 4 definitions for the same words in 1B. Okay, so I'm just going to go and see if you can match. So number 1, it's a machine which gives you directions while you drive. Number 2, it's a person who writes an online journal for people to read. Three, it's part of your social networking profile where people can leave a message for you. 4, it's a program about music or news, for example, which is downloaded over the internet. Have you got those 4? Stop the slide if you haven't. Otherwise, we will move on to task 1B. So for some reason my computer was not playing ball and I couldn't put down 5 to 8, but here we have the same words. Okay, so app designer, Zumba instructor, YouTube video clip. There should be a gap, a blogger, a sat nav, a podcast, a Wi-Fi hotspot, or a Facebook wall. That's all gone higgledy-piggledy, that, isn't it? Never mind. Okay, so it's a short video which is produced to promote something, which is then posted on the video sharing website called YouTube. I think that's one's easy for you to find. Number 2, it's a public place or zone where people can connect their devices to the internet. Number 3, it's a person whose job involves creating computer programs for devices like smartphones. And number 4, it's a teacher who you hire to improve your fitness by dancing to Latin American music. Have you managed to match those jobs and things that exist today that didn't exist much 30 years ago to their definitions? Oh, you have. Let's have a look, shall we? Here we go. So, it's a machine which gives you directions while you drive. Sat nav. A person who writes an online journal for people to read. A blogger. A part of your social networking profile where people can leave a message for you. Facebook wall. A program about music or news, for example, downloaded over the internet. Podcast. Okay, let's have a look at task B and I'll get my face out of the picture. Here we go, a short video which is produced to promote something, which is then posted on the video sharing website called YouTube. It's a YouTube video clip, of course. A place, a public place or zone where people can connect their devices to the internet is a Wi-Fi hotspot. A person whose job involves creating computer programs for devices like smartphones is an app designer. And a teacher who you hire to improve your fitness by dancing to Latin American music is a Zumba instructor. How did you get on? All okay so far? I'm sure you had lots of other jobs and things that you use around the home. So you can always write into Perfectly Spoken and let me know what they are. Maybe you have one. Okay, so let's have a look at the next slide, which is discovering the rules about these defining relative clauses. Yeah? Let's have a look. So look back at the answers to task 1A and 1B. Yeah, so just look back here, for example, and note down the relative pronouns. For example, it's a machine which gives you directions while you drive. The sat nav, yeah? So the relative pronoun is which. So instead of saying it's a machine, full stop, it gives you directions while you drive, full stop, we can join these sentences together with the word which. Okay, so go back to here. What about number 2? It's a public place or zone where people can connect their devices to the internet. Okay, so which is the relative pronoun there? It's a person whose job involves creating computer programs for devices like smartphones, which is the relative pronoun there. And it's a teacher who you hire to improve your fitness. Where's the relative pronoun there? Okay, so I want you to go back to those sentences and then I want you to complete these rules, please. Yeah, so if you've got who, which, where and whose as your relative pronouns. Can you complete the rules? Which one do we use to refer to people? Number 2, which ones do we use to refer to things? 3, to refer to places and locations. And 4, to replace possessions. Okay, so take some time to do that now. If you need more time, please do stop the slide. Here are the answers. Number 1, we use who and that to refer to people, yep? So a person who keeps an online journal for people to read is a blogger, a person who. Now you can also say a person that keeps an online journal is a blogger, but who is much more common. Who and that are the correct relative pronouns for referring to people, but who is much more common. Okay? Which and that are used to refer to things. So a sat-nav is a machine which you use when you drive. Yeah, or a machine which gives you directions while you drive. And you can say a sat-nav is a machine which or is a machine that. Both are correct. And both are common here. Number 3, you've only got one. Yeah, we use where to refer to places and locations. Yeah, so a Wi-Fi hotspot is a public place where you can connect to the internet. And whose refers to possessions. Yeah, let's go and find one that shows whose, shall we? Let's have a look for whose. Here we are. An app designer is a person whose job involves creating computer programs. So the job belongs to the person. Yeah, it's a person whose job involves creating computer programs. Yeah, so let's just recap. We use who or that for referring to people, but who is much more common. Which and that refer to things. Where refers to places and locations. And whose replaces possessions. Who belongs to, yeah, in that sense. There are times when you can omit, which means leave out, not use the relative pronoun. And that's when it's the object of the relative clause. So if you look at number 1, you can omit the relative pronoun when. It's the object of the relative clause. What does that mean? So a Zumba teacher is a teacher who you hire to improve your fitness. But because you here is the subject and the teacher is the object, you can leave that out. So you can say a Zumba instructor is a teacher you hire to improve your fitness. Both are correct. Okay, and in some passive sentences, so when we were talking about the video clip, so a video clip is a short video which is produced to promote something. You can say it's a short video produced to promote something. So in the passive relative clause, we can drop the pronoun and the verb be. Obviously, the full form is okay, but you will notice sometimes that the which and the is or the which and the are omitted. Okay, so that's quite a lot for you to take in, isn't it? It's quite grammatical. It's very much about written English first, then coming out in spoken English. So don't worry about that. Those are the rules, and we'll have some practice now using them, shall we? You can always refer back to those rules if you need to. Let's look at task 3 together. Here we go. So we have some more interesting words that have come into the English language that weren't used 30 years ago for sure. Here we go. We've got life coach, an MP3 player, a games console, a virtual assistant, and a 24/7 gym. And in the sentences 1 to 5, you've got 2 gaps. One is the noun, and the second gap is the relative pronoun that goes with that noun or noun phrase. Okay, should we do the first one together? So, is an electronic device, is used for playing computer games on a TV screen. What do you think? Okay, so there you need to put a games console is an electronic device which is used for playing computer games on a TV screen. Okay, can you try 2, 3, 4 and 5 now, please? So number 2, is a person, job, involves helping people to reach their life goals. Okay, number 3, is a place you can improve your physical fitness all day, every day. Number 4, is a machine on you can play music downloaded from the net. And number 5, is someone provides support for businesses from home rather than from the office. Okay, so someone who works remotely, who works online. Shall we have a look at the answers to check that you've got them right? Here we go, and let me get out of the picture. So number 1 we did together. A games console is an electronic device which is used for playing computer games. And there you could drop the which is and just have a games console is an electronic device used for playing computer games on a TV screen. A life coach is a person whose job involves helping people to reach their goals. Do you have such a thing in your culture? A life coach? Or sometimes we have a wellness coach, someone who helps you to reach your fitness goals. All sorts of strange jobs. Okay, maybe you know a life coach. Number 3, a 24/7 gym is a place where you can improve your physical fitness all day, every day. Number 4, an MP3 player is a machine on which you can play music downloaded from the net. And number 5, a virtual assistant is someone who provides support for businesses from home. So you may have heard of the job personal assistant. Yeah, so someone who helps you run your business, maybe does admin tasks, basic admin tasks, technology support, some creative web stuff. Yeah, the virtual assistant is someone that does it. You don't have to have them working with you in the office. They can do it from their homes and they cost less money that way. So you don't have to, they're not employees like a PA is. They're not in the office all the time, but they are virtual. Yeah, a virtual assistant. So they work from their homes, providing you, like I'm a virtual teacher, I suppose. Yeah, you don't see me in the classroom with you because I'm working from my home. How did you do? Yeah, and did you get all of those? You can see a games console is a device which. A life coach is a person whose job involves possession. A 24/7 is a place, a 24/7 gym is a place where you can improve fitness. An MP3 player is a machine on which you play music downloaded from the net. And a virtual assistant is someone who provides support for businesses. Yeah, so those are the relative pronouns that we've been focusing on today. The final task is just to show you how these work by making your speech and your writing more fluent. Okay, so here we've got 2 sentences without a relative pronoun. Please can you put the relative pronoun in and omit any unnecessary words. If you think it's possible not to use it, maybe you could cross it out if it's the object of the sentence or if it's a passive sentence. Yeah. Okay, your turn. Over to you. Number 1, my sister married a man. He's much older than her. Two, she showed me the necklace. Her parents bought it for her birthday. Three, that's the lady. I look after her children sometimes. 4, I've spent the money. You lent it to me. 5, I've got a distant cousin. She lives in New Zealand. 6, that's the film. Everyone is talking about it. Okay, stop the slide now if you need more time. If not, here come the answers. My sister married a man who is much older than her, or my sister married a man much older than her. Because the who, because it's the object of the sentence, yeah? My sister is the subject and the man is the object, so we can omit it. My sister married a man who is much older than her, perfect. Or my sister married a man much older than her, also good. Number 2, she showed me the necklace which her parents bought for her birthday. And again here, she showed me the necklace. So the necklace is the object of the sentence. Okay, so we can drop it if we want to. She showed me the necklace her parents bought her for her birthday. Or you can use it. It's up to you. Number 3, that's the lady whose children I look after sometimes. Yeah, possession, the children of the lady. So that's the lady whose children I look after sometimes. Number 4, I've spent the money which you lent me. Here, money is the object of the sentence, so we can drop it and say, I've spent the money you lent me. Both are correct. Number 5, I've got a distant cousin who lives in New Zealand. It's actually true. I've got quite a bit of my family that live in New Zealand that I've never met. Probably never will. Now, I've got a distant cousin who lives in New Zealand. Now, it's not possible to drop the who there because the distant cousin is the subject. Yeah. Okay. Number 6, that's the film everyone is talking about. That's the film which everyone is talking about. Yeah, there, which the film is the object, so you can choose to drop it or leave it. Okay, how did you do? There is a quiz for you to do after this lesson with more practice if you'd like it. If not, go back to the rules. Yeah, go back to discover the rules here. Make sure you've got a note of those somewhere and have lots of practice. When you're reading, yeah, if you're reading any English, just have a look when they use the who, which, where and whose. Maybe take a little text and underline all of the relative pronouns and think how they're used. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. I certainly have, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Thank you very much for your time. Bye now.